Thanks for listening to the Barbara Cox podcast. Today's question: are you sabotaging your destiny? Are you sabotaging your destiny? And this question came to me immediately because that's where I am. I can only talk from experience, from things that I have encountered throughout my life. And I'm telling you, I began to realize that I was sabotaging my destiny. Why? Because I was so used to being hurt. I was so used to being manipulated. I was so used to being, my name being scandalized. I was so used to people having some kind of underlying motive that was going to try to come against what God has for me. So I have built up this wall, this shield, and it's good to build it up, to be cautious, to be careful. But sometimes you can go into a state of sabotaging your destiny. You can sabotage what God has brought to you because you think that it's the enemy. You don't realize that it's God sending you your ordained assignment. God sending you someone into your life that is your promise. Sometimes you feel like, man, this is not the promise, because that person may appear to be a little different from what you perceived, not realizing that you have sabotaged your destiny because you're not looking at it from the spiritual eye point, but you're looking at it through the flesh. Sometimes God will send you something and you say, this ain't the promise because it ain't the way you expected it to come to you. It didn't come to you through a package, through the mail. It didn't come to you through your bank account. But God blessed someone to be a blessing to you. And so you're not even willing to receive it because you're thinking that there's something not right about it. It's not the promise, but it is the promise of God. And you've got to receive that thing and take it. You got to receive that person and release and realize that you are sabotaging your destiny. All because you're not looking through a spiritual, with a spiritual eyesight. You're not thinking through a spiritual mindset. You're going through the carnal way instead of realizing that it's a spiritual thing. And you cannot sabotage what God has sent to you. Okay, so today I'm speaking once again, not just to you, but I'm also speaking to myself because you can sabotage your destiny by looking at it through a carnal mindset and not a spiritual one. Open up your spiritual eyes today and see what God has for you. Open up your spiritual eyes today and receive what God has for you. Yes, you have prayed. And God has given you the desires of your heart. But God also has given you the promise. He said he's going to take you into the promised land. But it may be some giants up in there. But you can't be afraid. You got to know that God is going to allow you to overcome because you are an overcomer. You are an overcomer. You are more than a conqueror. So you have got to trust and believe that this is your destiny and you got to receive that thing and not sabotage it. Do not sabotage it. And sometimes we get so relaxed and so caught up in our own way of doing things that we sometimes can't be flexible when God sends us something into our lives. God may put you on a job that you're accustomed to doing differently, but it's taking you to another level. You're going to be making more money and you're like, I can't do this, instead of allowing the Spirit of God to work through you, because you can do all things through Christ as he strengthens you. He gives you the knowledge. He gives you the understanding. He says, he says for you to come to him if you lack wisdom and ask. And he's going to give you what you need to be able to operate in that position. He's already anointed you. He has already called you. He has already ordained you. And now you're in a new position and you feel like you can't do it, but you have forgotten that God has already made a way for you. So now you cannot sabotage what God is giving you. God is sending someone into your life and you're looking at that person. You say, but I like a tall man, and he comes into your life and he's short. Or you looking at that woman, you say, but I like a more slender woman and she got a little, little bit, so you feeling like this ain't what God sent to me. You don't see through her spiritual eyes. You don't see through his spiritual eyes. You don't see what God has for you. You don't see that you are sabotaging your destiny based off of what you see in that carnal mindset. Come on now, open up your spiritual eyes and see what God has for you. God gonna send you to somebody that may not think that you all that. But when God opened up their spiritual eyes and said, this is the man for the job, Well, he don't look like he qualified according to his resume. But God says, don't look at his resume. He's the man for the job. How many times have you gone into the Bible and saw the parables where somebody thought that this should be the king and this should be the king, and God said, no, don't look at him like that. This is who I sent. But is she the queen? Don't look at her like that. This is who I sent. It's who God sent into your life. Don't sabotage your destiny. It's what God has sent into your life. Don't sabotage your destiny. You may have a desire to build a very big, huge house, but God may start you off with a very small home. And you may say, this ain't the promise. You better step up in that house with your key and walk into it, decorate it, and be a blessing to that home. And God's going to give you what you desire. You may not be ready for that big old house. Trust me. When your children get grown and they're gone off to college, they eventually get their own place, you're going to be glad that God bless you with a home that's not so huge, because you're going to be responsible for every room in that house. You don't know what God is doing. God may take that home and allow you to use it to help you to build another home as you rent that one out to build another home. You don't know what God is doing. Stop sabotaging your destiny. Stop sabotaging what God has brought into your life. Who am I talking to? Me, myself, and I. Because I'm about to sabotage something that God has brought into my life. Only because I was looking through my carnal mind. I was seeing it through the flesh. And today I'm telling you, open up your eyes while we look at things through the spiritual mindset and we receive the blessings that God has for us. So today, are you sabotaging your destiny? Are you sabotaging your destiny? Are you praying to God and hearing from God? And when God brings it to your life, you still got to keep praying and you still got to keep hearing, because you could very well sabotage that thing that God has brought into your life. You may be wanting to go out and get a more expensive car, and then God sends you something that's not so expensive. It's still pretty. And you're thinking, no, but it's because the brand that you want. Who am I talking to? Me, myself, and I. Because I love a Lexus, baby. Okay. Who am I talking to? Me, myself, and I. But the word has to go inward and outward. So today, are you sabotaging your destiny? Is today's question. Thanks for listening to the Barbara Cox podcast. That's all. Bye now.